Jagged Little Pill is the Broadway hit currently on tour, and it's in Chicago now through April 23rd. The musical, of course, inspired by all the emotions that we find in the music of Alanis Morissette. We have star Jade McLeod here to chat all about it. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Let's talk a little bit about the character of Joe and what we're going to see in Joe's journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Joe is best friend to daughter of the Healy's, Frankie. Frankie is like a hot wire. Like she is just dynamite start to finish. Her, as Alanis would say, best friend with benefits. Um, and we watch that relationship evolve, and yeah, yeah, it's nice. It's nice to kind of be part of that central story, and also be on my own journey too.
I think you take a look at a family like theirs, and from the outside, it looks like everything is perfect, and people may judge themselves against them and how they look, but then you realize not everything is always as it seems.
It never is. None of us have it all together. Not a one.
Let's talk a little bit about the music of Alanis Morissette, because for a certain generation, that was like their first big, especially Jagged Little Pill, the first big album they bought. You listened to it from beginning to end. It made you feel all different types of emotion. Talk a little bit about maybe the first time you heard Alanis, connecting to the music, and talk a little bit about your journey with that.
Yeah. Alanis was so like ahead of her time, and she, especially like what she did for women in music, I think is she changed everything. She gave a lot of women in particular permission to be angry and permission to not be perfect all the time. Um, and that really, speaks to me in a big way. And I'm such a like kind of punk rocker anyway that yeah, I was definitely drawn to her music immediately as soon as I heard it. And the first time I really heard Alanis was I was in dance class actually. And my teacher, Melissa Williams, who's iconic, she put on Mary Jane, and we it was like the from the acoustic album, and we did a piece to Mary Jane, and I was like, who is this? Who is this? What is this? Oh my god! It touched. It was when I like honestly that piece was when I first like figured out how to like express through movement, and because it her music just taps into a part of your soul and it lights it on fire whether you like it or not. So like it was such a gift, and now to be doing this show however many years later is, yeah, it's impossible to resist this like ride of empathy and
And
yeah,
rawness. You have
yeah,
you have a song like You Ought to Know from the first album, which obviously has a lot of emotion, but then you also have something like Head Over Feet that makes you feel a whole nother emotion, and you learn that you feel a whole nother emotion. So it's not just bringing out, like you said, and Mary Jane too. It's like you look at all the lyrics, is that it has you feeling up and down, throughout that
yeah,
album and throughout the show as well too.
yeah. It's so dynamic. It's all over, and that's life, right? Like that is life. In any given moment, we are probably feeling 10 different things at once. So
So
yeah.
you're in Chicago right now. What's the tour been like? And is there a kind of a, I don't know, maybe a different feeling kind of starting in a new city, or are you just kind of like on autopilot and you're like, I'm here to do this show? Or is there kind of a new excitement being in a new place?
No, it's always so exciting. Every Tuesday that we get to a new city, it feels like opening night all over again. Because except for it's not as scary because we know what we're doing. But there's yeah, there's this excitement, walking into a new venue, walking into an entirely new audience and feeling from the audience, getting a taste of what their energy brings and how that affects us in our show. It's they're always the final cast member, the final piece of the puzzle. So it is always thrilling coming into a new city, and I'm so excited about Chicago because I you know the energy, it's electric. It feels great.
Sometimes, and I don't know if this is the case of maybe some social media messages that you might get, but
Mm.
oftentimes in the LGBTQ plus community, it's tough for somebody to be honest with their parents, or for the parents to know exactly what they're going through. And sometimes it takes a third party, whether it's a movie, a TV series, a musical, where you can see like a third party almost kind of saying like, here's an experience or here's the emotions that I'm going through, and help parents and kids connect together. Are you finding that as far as like audience members?
Absolutely. It's probably one of the most rewarding parts of all of this is that piece of it. You know, I didn't even know what non-binary meant until like Sam Smith and Demi Lovato came out, and I was like, wait, hold on, like what does this mean? Um, and when I watching them and watching their journeys individually, like it spoke to me, and I was like, oh, there's a word, I'm not weird. Like this is how I've kind of been living my whole life, and now I can like verbalize it. And now it's kind of surreal to be on the other side of that and have these trans kids come to me at the stage door, come to me on social media and say like, you know, I see myself in you. I understand myself a little bit better because of you. And I don't feel quite as other is like the most beautiful feeling. It is like, you know, it always tends to, those people tend to find me on like the hard days. When I'm like, oh, maybe like, you know, this, I catch this note, or I didn't get this laugh, or just when I'm feeling kind of hard on myself, it's always, those are always the days that someone comes to me and is like, hey, you know, you've helped me. And I'm like, oh, right. That's what matters. Like not all this other stuff.
Not this little tiny
That's
little part that maybe didn't go 100%. It's the overall picture
right.
of what it means. Talk a
Yeah.
little bit about that, maybe that unexpected feeling of power of being your authentic self and realizing how much it was helping people in the audience.
Oh, it was weird. It was so, it's, you know, I'm a very candid person, but it was so daunting. Like it was exhilarating. Initially exhilarating. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like it was addictive. Um, and then probably immediately after that, incredibly daunting and incredibly, um, you know, there was a lot of, I felt a lot of pressure. Most of it was self-imposed. Um, and now I feel like I kind of oscillate between the two, but I'm coming out the other side with all of these growing pains, just feeling a little more in my feet, a a little more myself every single day, and trying to trust that and follow that, and having an immense amount of support both from our internal team and from everybody in the audience. So it feels cool. It's scary. It's not easy, but it's cool.
It's cool, and it's I've definitely rewarding, and it's refreshing, and it gives you a symbol of hope that you're not alone. Obviously now, with the teens and people in their early 20s coming to see you, they can see themselves on stage. But at the time when Alanis's music first came out, that necessarily wasn't the case with the visibility that we get to see now. Do you get a lot of like maybe people in their 30s or 40s or 50, who are also at the stage door and come see the show that like, thank you for doing this, for the youth, or I wish I had somebody like this when I was growing up?
Yeah, 100%. Like it, it's like I can't even talk. Like it's so beautiful. It really spans so many generations of people. Her like first of all, her music does. Like there's a lot of, you know, women that grew up in this music and are like, you know, you get to sing that song, that song that I screamed in my car when my boyfriend and I broke up. And I'm like, power to you. But there also there's many trans, non-binary, queer people that are all different ages and all different generations coming to me and saying like, ah, thank you, like thank you for making me feel seen. And it's it's nothing. I had to come to terms with the fact that it's nothing that I'm doing. It's just me existing. It's not it's and it's for all trans people. It's the bravery alone that it takes to just be your authentic self. That's all it is. And if you can find that, you can help other people, and it's beautiful.
And that's the
Cool.
message, to have everybody live their authentic selves and their authentic truth, and look at the
Yeah.
greatness that can come out of something like that.
Yeah, not even the greatness, but just like the peace,
The piece, yeah.
like the inner peace and the relief of it all. Just being like, this is me, and I'm not afraid of that anymore.
You were just talking about the songs that people say, these are the songs that I scream at the top of my lungs, while I'm driving in the car. And these are the songs you think about this summer. You think about your college years. You think about spending time with your friends. You think about transitions in your life. when the notes come on and people know certain songs are coming on, do you take a look at the audience and just kind of see how like, okay, this is my song, or like just how the energy changes?
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't look at them because they scare me. But I do, like, especially at the beginning of You Ought to Know, because it's just so iconic. There's every once in a while I get that first lyric out, and people, the whole room, it's like everybody tenses up and everybody kind of leans in, and sometimes there's even like audible gasps or audible like, oh, it's this song. Oh my God, they get to sing this song, and I'm like, oh yeah, come with me. We're going on a roller coaster. Let's go. Yeah.
Alanis Morissette, did you ever have a chance to meet her?
Yeah, she's come a few times actually. She's come I think three times now to visit us, which is really lovely. She's such a kind and grounded and spiritual person. And I think she's happy with what we're doing, which is good. Mother Alanis approves. That's all we care about.
Especially with her music, not just that album, but we also have the second album, the third album. There's
Mhm.
some new songs that are in the show as well too. Talk a little bit about some of the musical journey that we're going to be taking on the show.
Yeah, yeah. So you get all 13 songs from the Jagged Little Pill OG album. You get a couple of absolute bangers from her other stuff. We have Uninvited from City of Angels. That is maybe the most breathtaking moment in musical theater I've ever seen. Maybe I'm biased, but it's true. It's right after You Ought to Know, so don't get up to pee. Please stay in your seats. You won't regret it. Yeah, and we also have songs like Predator and Smiling that were written just for the show and come from her perspective now, which is even more dynamic, is even more um wizened and rooted in truth. So
I have some of those shows that I've gone to see. Jersey Boys is like the first thing that comes to my mind. That it was like my parents' generation. My parents grew up with those songs, but I got to love them through them. Or like Beautiful, the Carole King musical, where like
mm,
I may necessarily didn't grow up with that, but I can appreciate the songs and I have a new understanding, and I'll find myself listening to that at home. Are you finding that too with maybe some of your friends that you've told you're in the show or have come to see you, or some of the younger cast members who are like, I want to come see the show because of the story, but now I'm obsessed with the music?
absolutely. I think there's, we have a lot of young people in this cast that maybe didn't even know the album before this show came out, and now I'm sure obsessed with it. I know I'm obsessed with it. Um, yeah, yeah. It's definitely something. It's crazy almost how relevant it is now, 25 years after it came out. It's just even more applicable. And I don't know if that's a positive thing about our world or a negative thing, but I choose to think it's a positive, and that it's just timeless. It spans
Yeah, that's a
the
testament to
entire.
great music, that it's just timeless. It
Yeah,
doesn't feel like there's a timestamp on it. It feels like no matter if you're 15 years old, 25 years old, 45 years old, these lyrics still resonate with you, and that's what the show is doing.
absolutely.
That's wonderful. Well, Jay, thank you so much for your time today. Jagged Little Pill in Chicago now through April 23rd. BroadwayInChicago.com is where you can go ahead and get those tickets, and enjoy your time here while you're in this Windy City. And hope you get a little time to go get some pizza.
Thank you. Come visit us, y'all. You won't regret it. We have a good time.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time today.